going on.
Thank you so much.
Pay like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family. Smoochie.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo Mutati. Mojo, March Madness may be over, but basketball is not over. The NBA is heating up. We are just a couple of days away from the start of the playoffs. And that's why we're going to start today's show with a round ball roundup, Mojo. We've got three big and three very different stories all going down last night, NBA action. Let's start with really the premier game, or one of the premier games of the night. There were a bunch of good games last night, including the Knicks and the Celtics. But this game, Mojo, I mean, two of the top teams in the Western Conference. The LA Lakers have played well against the Thunder this year. So with LeBron, Luka, and company traveling to Oklahoma City for another tilt with the number one team in the Western Conference, this was a game that really bared watching, Mojo, as again, we are very close to the playoffs. So, close game late, Mojo. In fact, Lakers were up 1 point with just about 8 minutes remaining. Luka Doncic had picked up a technical earlier in the game, Mojo. When this happened, now watch, Luka scores a bucket here, Mojo. He then tries to say something to a fan in the stands who was apparently taunting him. But the referee thought that Luka was directing that anger towards him. Watch what happened, and then we're going to hear from Luka.
Well, it's great seeing all the stars in action tonight. Nobody's sitting except for Rui. That knee management. Doncic starts, stop, shoot, gonna score.
Well, he got the switch. He won it again. Hartenstein. Luka's thrown out of the game.
Oh, no.
Luka just got thrown out.
There you go. Second technical. Doncic is gone.
Luka is saying he was talking to a fan, and the official is saying he was talking to me. So that's his second technical. He's out of the game. Luka makes this shot, and I guess one of the fans in the first row, he was saying something. Luka said something back, and the official happened to be in that area.
Yeah.
You can see it that happened, but you know, I never got a fan ejected, never. But if he's gonna talk, I'm gonna talk back like always. So that had nothing to do with the ref. So I didn't really understand. I mean, it was tough. I mean, we were right there. I think we fought the whole game. You know, we were down 8 at halftime. We came back in the third quarter. We were fighting, man. So it was tough to see that with this kind of situation that happened. And you know, that's on me too. So I can't let my team down like that.
Mojo, there were 7 minutes, 40 seconds left. Again, the Lakers were up 1 point. The Lakers lost this game by 16 points. They were absolutely dominated in those final minutes after Luka was kicked out of the game. They were outscored 29-12. And obviously the Lakers lose, and this had a profound impact on the game.
Well, at least on the positive side for Luka's brand, that just shows you the value to the team, right?
I was thinking that too.
Neck to neck all game, you take a seat, you get blown out.
Yep.
I mean, Dallas probably had to see that and is still hurting about this situation. My goodness, what a mistake. But back to this one. That fan probably just had the best day of his life, or her life. I don't know who was chirping, but they were the ones that were more or less responsible for this. They got under a player's skin. I mean, look, I am all for friendly trash talk, right? Someone talks it, give it back. That's the game, whether that's fans or coaches or players. I don't really care. I'm a big fan of trash talk as long as you don't cross the line. So I'm a little curious to hear what exactly was said, more so on Luka's part than what the fans said. The fans are going to talk their nonsense regardless. It is unfortunate positioning that fan just so happened to be right next to the ref, but that fan more or less won Oklahoma City that game. They might have to make sure that dude is there in that one seat at all times doing his stuff. Might have to give that guy a megaphone work him into the halftime show, maybe even put him inside the mascot suit for a bit.
And there is a good chance that these teams end up meeting down the road in the playoffs. And I think the Thunder need to do what they need to do to get that guy right there and see if they can get in Luka's head. All right, let's quickly. We got two other I want to hit here, Mojo, before we need to move on. Last night, we know everything that's happened with Ja Morant and the gun celebrations. He did it. He was warned. He didn't listen. The NBA fined him $75,000. Well, now Ja has moved on seemingly from firearms to grenades, to hand grenades, Mojo. Last night, the Grizzlies in Charlotte to play the Hornets. Watch what happens here as Ja knocks down a shot. Pulls a pin out of a grenade, Mojo. Of course, we're talking not a real grenade, obviously. With his teeth, throws it, bang. As we sit here and tape right now, Mojo, there has not been a fine that has come down, but I do believe that the NBA likely does fine Ja Morant here. He's not backing down, bottom line, Mojo.
No, absolutely not. He's making a mockery of this entire thing. I mean, is that going to be his new gimmick now? He's going to have some sort of reference like this after every fine, the next game. I'm very kind of curious now to see what he comes up with next, but clearly a guy who's not getting the messaging, and this rivalry between him and the league, it's obviously just going to continue. I mean, he's getting creative now. Yeah, no, I think so too, Mojo. I don't know what his end goal is here. I mean, he's made it clear, hey, I'm the villain, so I'll fill that role if that's what you want from me. I just don't know that he wants to get in a feud with the NBA. They've got ways they can impact his career in a negative way, and I don't know he wants to go down that route, but I'm not Ja Morant. He's Ja Morant. He's in control of his actions. And obviously, the grenade was thrown last night. So stay tuned on that. Last but not least, Mojo, I mentioned the Celtics and the Knicks game last night. This was another game with some implications and possibly a playoff matchup down the road here. The game goes to overtime. Knicks end up losing. But that's not what we want to talk about here, Mojo. Remember Tracy Morgan when he vomited all over the Madison Square Garden floor a couple of weeks ago? Well, oh boy, I can't even look at it again, Mojo. Well, last night, Tracy was back in the building at the world's most famous arena for the first time. I don't know if they stayed away from Tracy with the concessions. I would have said, hey, don't go by him. Let's not sell him any food. But he was in the building right there sitting next to Ben Stiller. Unfortunately, did not bring the Knicks much good luck. I got to say it, Babcock. I'm a little surprised that Miller didn't have some sort of skit to play off of that. I mean, what a letdown. What a missed opportunity by two of the funniest people in the world. I am a big Tracy Morgan fan, so I would have absolutely leaned into this one and maybe upped the ante this time and taken it to the next level. Pull a Ja Morant out there and escalate your game, I guess. Mojo, would you have sat next to Tracy Morgan, or would you want to prove that he could make it through at least one game first before you sat that close to Mr. Vomit? Are you kidding me, man? I would have sat next to him and I would have tried to find a way to guarantee that he was going to throw up again, except this time way more so. Coming up, WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart joins the show. You don't want to miss the strong words he has to say about Hulk Hogan. The Hitman calling the Hulkster a big liar in the interview you won't see anywhere else. That's next on TMZ Sports. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. I am your host, Mojo Muhtadi. Extra hype today because I am joined by the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. The Hitman himself, Bret Hart. Bret, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very good. Excellent.
Well, really excited to talk to you. A lot going on in your life. You are about to break history here as the first ever three-time WWE Hall of Famer going in, oh my goodness, for the inaugural WWE Immortal Moment for your legendary match at WrestleMania 13 with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bret, how do you react to this news? How are you feeling about it?
I feel really good about it. I think, it's one of those kind of things that, even at the time, like going all the way back to 1997, and when we had that match, and I think the day that I pulled up at the building in Chicago at the O'Hare Arena there, like I didn't have the highest hopes, big expectations of how good this match might be. If anything, I was feeling just the opposite, that we were a little bit handcuffed because we don't have pinfalls, and that it's a submission type match, and it's, just wasn't that enthusiastic about it, which maybe is why it kind of came out as well as it did. It was just, I remember feeling, kind of dragging my feet going in the building, and I sensed that Steve was kind of feeling the same way. Like, we got no pinfalls. You lose that false finish. Like you need those 1, 2, like it's like, and if you take those out of a wrestling match, it's a lot harder. It really is. But I know that after the match, like when it was over, I've always felt in my heart of hearts that it was the best match I ever had. I always think, like when you watch the UFC and you see how the contact and how serious it is, and how the physicality of it all. But I always think you can put that match with Steve Austin, you can put it beside a UFC match, and they're very comparable to each other, which is the artistry of what I do and what Steve did. And it's such a beautiful, violent match. It's just such an amazing physical outburst for both of us, and I don't know that you can duplicate that. You can try, and I'm sure wrestlers will try over the next 100 years to try to top that match or see who can have a better match than that one. But I had so many great matches over my career, but that's my number one match. It always was. You'd ask me 6 months after WrestleMania 13, I would say that's probably my greatest match. That one stands up with the best UFC fights. It seems like a real brawl and a real dogfight, and that's what we wanted it to be. And it's a beautiful song.
Bret, thank you so much for all this time today. I got one more question for you before we let you go. We actually got an exclusive clip from WWE on WrestleMania 9. Becoming a spectacle, and there's a whole bit in there about that fight with Hogan and Savage, where Hogan showed up to work with a nasty black eye. What do you remember about that incident?
I don't remember much of it other than hearing about it and sort of seeing it. I never knew what happened, and I still don't. I don't know. Hulk Hogan's always been such a liar, that you never know whatever he tells you is probably not true. Macho Man, I'd go by his account of things. Macho Man was a much more reliable, the guy that at least spoke the truth. But I don't remember. He wasn't the first wrestler to show up in the dressing room with a black eye. It's not like it doesn't happen. I can think of lots of situations where somebody showed up the next day with a long tale about how they end up with a shiner or worse. And so it wasn't the first time it happened, although I will say that I remember being a pretty good shiner.
Well, Bret, thank you so much for joining us today on TMZ Sports. An absolute honor to chat with you today. Congrats on your 3rd induction into the Hall of Fame. Unbelievable. Thank you again so much for your time.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Before she was the Final Four's most outstanding player, AZ Fudd had a special relationship with Kobe and Gigi Bryant. The UConn star tells us how Kobe and Gigi were part of the Huskies' championship run when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, the UConn Husky fans still psyched, still celebrating the big national championship win over the weekend. Amongst those fans still happy, still celebrating, Mojo, is Vanessa Bryant. Of course, the night that UConn won Vanessa put up what was a really emotional post on social media. As you may know, Gigi Bryant, her late daughter, was a huge UConn Huskies fan, and she, like her dad, was a big basketball star, Mojo, and by all accounts, she wanted to and was going to play at UConn. So, a little bit earlier today, Mojo, we had an opportunity to speak with Azzi Fudd, who was the best player in the tournament. She was named, as a matter of fact, the most outstanding player. Now, Azzi and Gigi and Kobe, they knew each other. They had a relationship. So when we spoke with her, we had to ask, what were you thinking when you read and when you saw what Vanessa Bryant posted the night you guys won? Take a look.
I mean, Vanessa's incredible, and so is her entire family. But that definitely did cross my mind. It's like she would have been a freshman, and someone else asked me. There were like a couple scores. It was like 24 and 8 in the stat line, and they're like, "Do you believe in like just God's power?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's God, that's them, that's Kobe, that's Gigi, that's them watching down on us, cheering us on in this game." She was there. She's not here, but she was there in spirit. And just, to have Vanessa reach out and make that message, it's super powerful and definitely means a lot.
You ask how you can make a moment like that even better. How do you top winning it all, being MVP, all of these cool things? Well, it's something like that, because obviously Azzi was a huge fan of Kobe and his game, and then this whole situation just becomes way more real when you talk about Gigi was going to go to school here and Vanessa's comments. My goodness, how much can the heart take at one point? And gosh, those photos of Gigi just break your heart looking at them, and just thinking about what could have been. It's just terribly sad. But UConn getting the big win and honoring her legacy and her name and her family's name and all these things. That's a cool thing here, right? That's at least one positive thing to come out of this, unfortunately. But you can see how much it means to her. That seems to be the biggest talking point come out of this for her, almost more so than the championship and MVP and all of these things. And I think that says a lot. So really heartfelt moment here that we got to witness.
Yeah, Mojo. I think the reality is this is the biggest moment in their lives, basketball-wise at the very least, and perhaps period. And the fact that on their minds in that moment was Gigi Bryant and was Kobe Bryant, it does go to show just how much of an impact Gigi Bryant left in her way too short life. She should have been on that basketball court. She should have won that national championship with the rest of her would-be teammates. And it's not fair that it's played out like this, but it's got to offer some solace to the Bryant family to hear the stars on that UConn basketball team to talk about their child in that way. Obviously, rest in peace, Gigi Bryant. Up next, he's the NBA's all-time leading scorer and a four-time NBA champ. But this may be the coolest accolade added to LeBron James' resume. King James gets his own Ken doll when TMZ Sports rolls on right after this.
There is a hearing set to decide whether to re-sentence the Menendez brothers.
A TMZ exclusive interview.
My brother and I are cautiously hopeful. I'm striving to be a good person.
Have they served their time?
Would they really pose a danger to society?
Do you want to have them over for a dinner party?
TMZ presents the Menendez Brothers The Prison Interview. Stream on Hulu now.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. If this isn't the epitome of GOAT talk, I don't know what is. LeBron James, Mojo, has many firsts in his incredible, his amazing, maybe his unmatched career. But this might be the highest of honors, Mojo, because the king has now got himself his own Ken doll, Mojo. Yeah, this is a real thing. This is not a joke. Not an April Fool's joke. LeBron James is a Ken-bassador, okay? A Ken-bassador, Mojo. This Barbie doll is manufactured by Mattel, who, of course, makes Barbies. It will be available next Monday, the 14th, for 75 buckaroos, Mojo. Look at that. I'll tell you what, too. The doll looks great. It is very, very realistic. And amazing. Michael Jordan doesn't have a Ken doll.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like these dolls don't typically look nearly like the person that they're supposed to be, but this one is spot on. I mean, they broke the mold with this one, really went a different direction creatively. There is going to be a lot of people buying Barbie dolls that have not bought Barbie dolls in the past. My one question here is how'd they arrive at this particular outfit? You would assume that my guy was going to be wearing his jersey, right? Like his game gear.
Well,
but
I have a theory, Mojo. So who am I to take a shot at the king? Some people have talked about LeBron's hairline and maybe it's creeping back a little bit. So I think they wanted to put the hat on him because you get rid of any hairline issues. So that's my theory on the hat. I don't know about the outfit, though. Yeah, the pants, I don't know about that.
Clearly went with a lifestyle decision here. I don't know if maybe this outfit makes LeBron a little more one of one, but when you throw a jersey on someone, a lot of people say, well, that doll could be anybody. Not when you have attention to detail like this. For a lot of these dolls, hey, I got action figures too,
Let me see.
Mine, I feel like they look like a few different people, but that one has way more detail.
No, that looks like you.
Like that guy anymore.
Look at that. A little small. It could have made him a little more ripped. They didn't do your muscles justice, Mojo, but it looks a little more like my physique. But
they did get the crazy shoulders right, though. That little dislocation looking thing. I've been there before.
We have those in the office, and I'll make your action figure punch things and everything. So, yeah, that's.
Just make sure I win in the end, Babcock. That's all I ask.
You always do, Mojo. So very cool. So LeBron has one, Mojo has one. I have nothing, but that's okay. Maybe one day something to strive for. All right, we are out of time, Mojo. We got a big show tomorrow. It's gonna be great. I'll tell you that much.
That's right, Babcock. It'll be the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.